Good morning, Liz.
Good
How are you?
morning. I'm good. I'm happy to be here. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. It's been a rush morning, but it's good. I had a coffee fail this morning, and as you can see, I'm not using my Quis cup. You have a Quis cup, right?
I do. It is amazing. It's one of my favorites, actually. So I am a big, huge coffee fanatic. I do like Starbucks, but I prefer to make
That's
my
right.
own coffee. And I have a very large cup
Oh, nice.
that I use every morning, but I also take the Quis cup and make another cup and put it in my car and take it with me because it's just the perfect, it keeps it warm. It's amazing. I love it so much.
It's a perfect size. I think people just that's what I liked about it was I used to be in different industry sales and we used to give out pens and this was before I became a woodworker and I hated them. They were cheap pens and I was supposed to give them out and I was always embarrassed and every now and then we'd get a really good one and I'd give those away really quickly, but most of them were pretty cheap. And I always said when I own my own company, I will provide giveaways that are commensurate with the quality of my product, right? So if you give out, if you want the machine and the automation system to fit the customer, then the giveaway should fit the customer, should be a good fit, and that's what I love about those cups. As soon as I had one, there's a coffee place here in Asheville called High Five, and they sell them with the High Five logo on them. And so I called the manufacturer and said, hey, can I get my logo? And they said, sure.
Awesome.
And, yeah, it was pretty cool.
I get questions about, where'd you get that cup? Can I have one? No.
Yes, $1 for every cup goes to third world clean water efforts.
Nice.
So on the bottom of your cup, there's a give code. And if you look it up, it'll tell you which project your dollar went to fund.
Oh, that's awesome. I did not know that. That's amazing.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Andrew actually copied me, and the marketing guy there said, I know I stole that from you. But he got the same cup. It's just a little bit bigger. He got the step up and for CR Andrew.
So now I need to call Thomas and say, where's my mug?
He'll get you one. Don't worry. I'm sure you're on the list, so don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. When was your first cup of coffee? How old were you?
Honest to God, I don't know. So my parents were massive coffee drinkers. I get it from them. I remember when I was growing up, I grew up in Virginia in the South. It's hot. It's just hot and humid. And my parents every summer, all the time, even in the summer, would make a giant pot of coffee a couple times a day. They would go out in the hottest part of the day, sit on the deck with a giant cup of coffee, drinking it. And when I was little, I'm like, how do y'all do that? You're so weird. It's so hot out here and you're drinking hot coffee. Totally understand it. Totally do it every single day.
Yeah.
If I'm not drinking coffee, I'm drinking water, and that's pretty much it.
So. Yeah. Corey, my wife, she does iced most of the year because of that same reason. She couldn't handle the hot. And but I'm good. Black, hot, give it to me. Yeah. So yeah. You take it black?
I will drink it black. I like it with a little steamed milk is my preference. But
that's nice too.
Yeah.
There's a name for that, and I forgot what it's called.
Cafe con leche or cafe au lait or miso if you shop at Starbucks.
That's right. There's the Starbucks name for everything, and then there's the real name. Yeah. So North Carolina EDP, North Carolina Economic Development Partnership is how we met. And you've helped us. You've helped our company a lot, and I'll talk about that later in the interview a little bit, and how much we appreciate our relationship with you guys. And then and tell us a little bit about what you all do and your role there.
Sure. So kind of a super brief synopsis. The EDPNC, or Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina, was established about 6 years ago. All of the divisions within EDPNC were once at the North Carolina Department of Commerce. Many states have kind of moved into what we call a public-private partnership like EDPNC. And really they're doing this to better respond to the needs of businesses, right? So the EDPNC, really, we engage in a variety of economic development activities. We promote, of course, our world-class travel and tourism industry. We encourage people to come to North Carolina to see what it's all about, both domestically and internationally. We sell it as a location for film events, for sporting events, for retirees. In addition to our tourism, we've got an entire team that recruits business to North Carolina, both domestically and internationally. We help entrepreneurs start new businesses. We have a call center. It's called Business Link North Carolina. It's totally free of charge. If anyone has a question about what do I need to do, they can call and we can provide them answers. It's a great team. They are extremely knowledgeable. I have gone to them many times because I'm like, I actually don't know the answer. Can you help me? And they're really great. No question is too big or small for them. We have a regional team that supports North Carolina companies that are already here through a variety of efforts. And then, of course, we've got the international trade team, which is what I am on, or the division that I am involved in. And we help companies find customers kind of globally. So we help connect the dots and take companies with us to international markets. We help them through a variety of things, find distributors, vet potential buyers. Recently we've helped companies try to find supply chain contacts just as a result of the pandemic and different things that are going on globally. But our ultimate goal at EDPNC is to assist North Carolina companies in being successful and growing, and of course, in creating jobs.
And what about your role there?
So my role is I'm an international trade manager. So I support companies that fall within certain industry sectors. My area is furniture, lumber, hospitality. Right now I have waste recycling, water, wastewater kind of infrastructure projects. And so any company that falls within these industry sectors, I can provide insight to kind of market trends. I can, help companies identify new markets or areas that they want to pursue. I do kind of a lot of different things. The big thing that I think we do at EDPNC and the international trade team is we provide, we have a lot of different things that we do, really. So part of my role is to design a program each year to sell North Carolina companies in different markets. So with the furniture industry, the Middle East, as of late has been a pretty strong industry for North Carolina furniture. So I might design a trade mission or an event in that market and encourage or find companies that want to go with me, take them with me to that event, showcase their products, set up B2B meetings, tour facilities, do some networking receptions so that they can interact and better understand kind of culturally how it works and better understand how they do business. And last year, which is the last time we traveled because of coronavirus and the pandemic, we had a pretty big delegation in the Middle East. And some of the attendees that went with me were able to participate in the educational program attached to the event, which was really fantastic because it was very rare for them to get some American perspective because they're kind of a little bit in a bubble. But it's really nice just to kind of do that. And I have 4 additional colleagues that cover other industry sectors that do very much the same kind of thing for those industries.
I heard about that trip. Brian Boggs, one of our craftsmen here in Asheville, he went on that trip, right?
Yeah, he did. And he actually spoke as part of a panel which was really great. It's really fascinating because it's really neat to be on the side of seeing the final product, to know the creator of that product, right?
Mhm.
But also to see that person kind of light up and engage with others when they're talking about what they do. And he's phenomenal. I mean, what
He's
he
an
does,
amazing woodworker.
yeah, he really is.
Amazing
So
woodworker. Yeah, we used to work together, and watching his approach to the craft was a gift. So it was a get to see that was great. He's great, and so the it sounds like a pretty great day at your company when you get to do something like that and show off a North
yeah.
Carolina craftsman. But so what does a great day look like at North Carolina EDP?
I think a great day could be a lot of different days. I think any day where we help a company export to a new market or even export at all is a great day. I think, when we help companies understand that exporting is a process and it's not just a one quick, I'm going to go here and I'm going to sell things.
So you were saying that a great day at your company is
so my favorite day is when we meet a company that is totally new to us and doesn't even know we exist, and we tell them about the fact that we've got all of these services, and we're totally free of charge. We are funded by the state of North Carolina. We have, it's a public-private partnership, so we've got investors, of course, that help kind of make up what the state doesn't allocate to us. But because of that, and because of the different grant programs that we have in place, we're able to do a lot of this absolutely free of charge. We have 6 international officers throughout the world that are boots on the ground to support North Carolina companies. So if you've got someone in Europe that wants to purchase 1,000 units of your product and it seems too good to be true, you can call us and say, hey, can you just help us vet this to make sure that this is a legitimate company? Because it would be really great for us to sell, but we also recognize that this may be too good to be true. And we've done that. And sometimes it's a great day where we're like, this is totally legitimate, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's a good day because we're like, it's not real, but we appreciate the fact that you acknowledge that this could have been really bad had you gone through with it. So,
and we can help you find the real one. We can help you.
Right.
That's great, because you're getting that lead on somebody who is looking to do that, grow that way. That's right. I can't tell you the number of times I've been sitting with a customer of ours who we've known for years, and he says some frustration. And I say, hey, have you ever considered calling the North Carolina EDP? And he's like, what's that? And I love getting to help them find you. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of fun. The recent one was Doug. Yeah, Doug. Mm-hmm. I told Doug he's been selling, hardwood lumber for years, and mm-hmm. And he asked me specifically, where, how do I, do you know of any ways to get into selling lumber, mm-hmm. Abroad? And I said, well, I know somebody who would know that, and yeah. And it just boom, boom. He was so grateful just for that introduction. And yeah. So it's interesting. Kind of makes me wish we could export what we do.
Yeah, I know.
We're pretty regional, but yeah. It's exciting. So you see a lot of different types of manufacturing. Mm-hmm. For the sake of the discussion, because your focus is furniture, and that's where you and I met in hardwoods mm-hmm. and lumber. Where do you see that manufacturing going in the next 5 years?
So I see North Carolina manufacturing and the furniture industry specifically really continuing to strengthen and grow. In regards to like North Carolina specifically, North Carolina is the 7th largest manufacturing economy in the United States, which is really significant. What that mm-hmm. looks like is, I think for every dollar that's spent in manufacturing, the return on that investment is 80 or 85 cents. Mm-hmm. Or I think that might be wrong. So for every dollar that's spent, I think it's $1.82 is generated for the North Carolina economy. With regard to exporting specifically, so in 2019, North Carolina exports were $32.8 billion. And 95% of those dollars were manufactured goods, and that's in pharmaceuticals, aerospace, transportation, furniture, chemicals, etc. And that looks like almost 10,000 new jobs. 69% of all economic development projects that were announced in the state were manufacturing, and the investment totaled over $3.5 billion for the state. So it's pretty significant. With regard to where we're looking in 5 years, I just think the pandemic has been awful for a variety of reasons. It's just been really tough. But it's also been really great in some areas as well. I think, what we are seeing is some of our companies are onshoring or nearshoring their operations. And they're totally reconsidering the supply chain due to all of these impacts.
Sure.
So I really foresee this being a very positive thing for us in the long run. And I think, it's going to be, a year or two before we really truly see how this really impacts us. But I see it really making a big difference.
It's one of the things I love about our country is that we go through something like this, and it's horrendous, and it's got such a dark side to it that, but at the end, we usually come out stronger as a country because of it. And I'm hoping that that's what's going to happen here. I'm hoping that in the coming, maybe the 2021 is going to be that rebuilding. Let's get things back to something. It won't be normal. It'll be the new normal, and something with less fear running through everybody, hopefully, and less of that. But I do see a lot of my customers are really busy, and they've put a different focus on automation, which has been nice. And because they want to continue to protect that workforce that they have, not because they're trying to replace them. It's because they're trying to protect them. Just trying to, Jimmy, who's been working down in the frame shop, he's 58 years old. We want him to keep working until he's big, burly, and he can carry all that stuff. Well, but what if, could he work till he's 65 if he wants to, if he's got a vacuum lift and some things to help him out? And it's so exciting to see that focus put back on the value placed on those employees that are still there with you and are, coming back, and it's pretty exciting. So you see a lot of the goods and the bads as far as, speaking of that, in manufacturing. Do you see, in terms of the exporting specifically, since that's one of your that's your specialty, do you see what do you think are the major pitfalls people make when they say, all right, we're gonna start exporting our furniture here, we're gonna start exporting our wood? What are some of the common mistakes people make?
I think,
that help them avoid?
Didn't mean to cut you off. I think the biggest the biggest thing that I think offers kind of I don't know, some kind of difficulty is really expectations. And I wish that more companies could manage their expectations with regard to exporting. And what I mean when I say that is to really kind of understand that exporting is awesome. Over 95% of the world's purchasing power exists outside of the United States, right? That is massive. That is massive. And if you're doing great domestically, most likely you're going to do great internationally as well. And so, I think companies need to understand that exporting is a process. You cannot expect to travel with me to an event and sell, 30 containers. That's totally unreasonable, right?
Right.
And different markets require different effort. So some markets are really relationship oriented, where they need to see that you're there multiple times before they even consider having a conversation with you about purchasing. I think some companies really need to understand that they need to invest not only monetarily in a budget kind of line item to get someone in a role like focusing on international sales, funding to be able to get on a plane and go interact and engage with people, wherever they may be, but also to invest in hiring someone that really can spearhead that initiative for you, to understand that exporting has rules and regulations, and you need to have kind of a system in place to really be successful. And you need to recognize that if you're not doing something right, you need to kind of get ahead of it or kind of address it pretty quickly. The other thing that I think that we're seeing now is a lot of the companies that have an online presence or have focused on e-commerce, especially right now in the pandemic, are doing so great. They're doing so great. Everyone is at home. I mean, I am even one of these people that have gone online and have purchased. I bought a chair, I bought a desk. I am at home.
Me too.
I painted my entire house because I'm like, this needs to be painted. I mean, it's just crazy. People are buying way more furniture than any furniture company ever expected. I mean, it is really fantastic because we can't go anywhere. Let's go order some outdoor furniture so we can make our area nice. This couch is really uncomfortable.
It's me.
I don't like it. Like, let's get
Right.
some. So it's a really cool thing. And for those companies that have not yet embraced technology, it's a great opportunity to go ahead and do that. And, I'm not trying to sell this at all. It's totally paramount to success. And we recognize this. We've got several grant programs or financial assistance programs that companies can take advantage of. And all of these programs recognize the impacts of the pandemic and have kind of addressed and shifted the scope of what their monies can be used for. And so we've got a ton of money available to companies if they want to reach out to have some kind of online presence, to focus on e-commerce. If you sell a lot, kind of into a particular market and you want to get some optimization. Like, so if you're in Germany and you're Googling Quis machinery, it's going to pop right up,
Right.
And you're not having to go elsewhere. Does that make sense?
Completely. We're actually launching our new web. Dan Costin, who's our new marketing director, he's been rebuilding our new website, and it's launching in 5 days, and
cool.
it'll be and we're going to start it won't be, the e-commerce side won't be available immediately because we were just trying to get some stuff that, IWF Connect is coming out soon, and we wanted to be ready for that, but we won't have the commerce side of it ready yet. We're just going to go ahead and get something better because, excuse me, mostly with the videos and pictures and the way that people want to interact with their sites now. So just like you're talking about, I've been redoing my patio and just during this, and like, oh wow, I've got time to redo this, and it also gets me outside, gets me thinking, and clearing my head too. So it's great. When you guys are looking at like the health of an industry, and you've spouted off a lot of great numbers there, and I'm really glad we're recording this so I can go back and listen to them all. What are some of we call them KPIs or key performance indicators? What are some of the numbers that you pay attention to that go, yeah, North Carolina's doing great in this, and this industry isn't doing as well, isn't as healthy? What are some of those metrics that you guys look at that you pay attention to?
I think, So we use a lot of export data, right? So we're going to look at, or me specifically, I'm going to look at where we have ranked in a particular industry over the past 20 years. And you can kind of see, right? So like lumber, as an example, I think domestically, North Carolina is the 8th strongest state for lumber exports, and for furniture we're 11th. And so and within that, that's kind of like how it works. Like you have like a code, and it can go down digits and kind of get bigger and bigger. And so when we're looking, this is like a 30,000 view where everything is like consolidated into one little capsule. So I think we look at where we've been. We explore kind of the exports up to date and what may, I'm sorry, I'm like rambling. So for 2020, we're down significantly because of the pandemic.
Down as a total number or down as a rank versus other states?
In generalities, like as a state, for all the commodities that we export, we're down.
Okay.
We're down.
But all states, I assume, are down too, right? Like we all.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much. Yeah, but some states are, like the numbers just came out, I think yesterday or Tuesday, and
okay.
And so one state has this crazy increase, and we're trying to like figure it out, because we can kind of see things. So this has nothing to do with lumber or furniture, but right before, I think it might have been December, like August, September, October, November, December last year, we were noticing that China was like buying everything. I mean, it was crazy. It looked like they were preparing to go completely off grid. I mean, it was insane. We were like, what are they doing? And then it kind of all makes sense now that like we know that there's this virus. I mean, they were buying like plasma and medicine.
Wow.
Like, what is like, and it just, I mean, it really, I don't know what it was, but it makes more sense now that we are here, and we're like, oh, okay, we can kind of see this. So we kind of look at like those export reports, and we kind of look at where we are. And then, if there are changes in any way, shape, or form, we're going to explore, the political environment in different markets. Like if we've got a really strong market, lumber as an example, China is a massive, Vietnam is a massive market for North Carolina exports. And with everything going on with the trade deal and the tariffs in China, it's kind of impacted, North Carolina exports to that market. So that is kind of a barrier. If, there is a disease that is hitting a particular market, that's going to impact their product supply or whatever, we may be able to go in and kind of fill that gap, but we just kind of take into those trends. So it's kind of a dance around looking at numbers, kind of looking at where other states are as well. Are we kind of in line with where everyone else is? Is this a common thing? And then if we're not, really trying to identify what is impacting us negatively and where can we maneuver to kind of fill that void, right? To keep us where we are, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Thinking about just COVID has kind of put a spotlight on some aspects of manufacturing, automation being one of them. The lack of automation in the wood industry specifically has been a big one. But also another big one that's been talked about for years has been the labor skills gap, skilled labor gap. I'm talking about, I know a furniture company, I was reading their Q3 report recently, said that's one of their challenges is finding skilled woodworkers that understand how to build a frame, how to build a piece of furniture, and that's a challenge for them. Is this something that I know you're more in line with the exporting, but is it something you guys hear a lot about there at EDP? And what do you feel like? Do you feel like North Carolina is, as a state, as a government, is helping? How do you feel like North Carolina can help employers and help manufacturers with that?
So I think North Carolina as a state is, from where I sit and from my experience, is a really strong state for partnerships and really working together. I think on the export side, we are one of a handful of export partners, and we are constantly meeting and we constantly try to connect folks with someone else. And it gets to a point where, sometimes North Carolina companies think we all work at the same place, and we're totally different, but that's okay. And that we are here to solely help you succeed. And I feel that same way about North Carolina in general. There are so many programs that are available, or kind of organizations that are out there to kind of address some of these gaps, right? And the two that I really just kind of want to mention, the first one is really trying to talk or speak to the challenge of those North Carolinians that are lacking credentials or post-secondary degrees, right? So, and it's called My Future NC. It's a nonprofit organization with leaders in education, business, and government that are trying to come together to really identify opportunities to kind of identify and engage local, state, and regional stakeholders to try to educate and align this whole economic need and gap. And they're also trying to kind of build or bridge kind of a deeper understanding and alignment from pre-K through high school, through like certificate programs, associate's degrees, and into higher education. And the goal is really to, I think there's some stat that there's, if we don't do anything by 2030, I think it's 400,000 or maybe 500,000 jobs will not be able to be filled because people just are not going to know how to do this job, right? Sure. And so My Future NC is really kind of putting forth an effort to have, many people, 1 million people that can do jobs, so that we're not kind of in this place where we don't have the workforce to kind of support and to Great. Encourage companies to come to North Carolina. One of the big sellers that we have is a great workforce. But I know what you're saying. I know furniture companies that, it's tough. They spend a lot of time and energy kind of educating people on how to put in nail head finishes, and they come in and they do it. They train, and it's a lot. I mean, it is a lot of work. It is an art. It is not something that anybody can just come in and do. And sometimes they'll come in and work for a day and then they just don't come back and get their check, and it's really disheartening. But another program, I think it's through the community college system, I could be wrong, I'm pretty sure it is Apprenticeship NC. And it's really this whole idea of getting kids or not kids, but individuals that are really interested in particular areas into businesses to be an apprentice, to learn and get that hands-on work. I think, manufacturing is one of the key industries that this happens, as well as like public safety, construction, different things like that. So those are the two big areas. And I know that we have an existing industry team. North Carolina is a pretty big state, and we divide it into like 8 quadrants. And each area has one person that is kind of like the go-to expert conduit of all information that could help any existing business in that footprint. And if you have workforce issues, if you've got capacity issues, these are the folks that are going to know, what maybe you qualify for, who to call, to make your life easier, to really kind of solve some of your problems. And it's really important for them to know what you're going through, because if other companies or businesses are having the same issue, they can be a sounding board to, North Carolina officials to say, listen, this is a big deal. And, we're not just hearing it from one area, it's like statewide. And so we need to maybe consider this, when decisions are being made.
Yeah, I having been one of those people, I went to Chapel Hill for economics, kind of knowing I wanted to be a small business owner, and not wanting to, but I did go into corporate America after that for a little while, and then left that to go to small business and work for some friends who own small businesses. And then that's when I realized I was 20, 28, 29 when I made the decision to become to focus on woodworking. And here I am with an undergraduate degree from one of the best universities in the country. And I'm decided to take up craft furniture, and just because of the love of it. And I had to go to British Columbia to study it. I did a year of apprenticeship with a guy in Mars Hill, North Carolina, which was great. I found a craftsman who would trade me landscaping work.
Nice.
I was literally cleaning his gutters and mowing his lawn, and 90 acres of land. It was a lot of mowing. And and we but then we would spend a day woodworking for every day I spent landscaping. It was a year of that. I learned a lot, and it was an incredible experience. And then I went off to school for 2 years, and then came back and worked for Brian for a little bit. And I can tell you that a lot of young people don't recognize, or not just young, but just people reinventing themselves, don't take the value of an apprenticeship. They don't see it. And I think that if we could educate people on how much you can learn by spending a year or two learning from somebody who's doing the job, boots on the ground, turning the wrench, whatever it is. Even Frank, that it was recommended to me when I decided to go in this industry. Somebody said, you should just start your own distributorship. You got a background in capital equipment sales, and you're a woodworker. And I was like, no way. I don't know the ins and outs of this industry. I know how to build a chair. I know how to build a table. I don't know how to, build it 1,000 at a time, and profitably. And so I found Frank Quis and worked for him for a few years, and helped grow the company so that when I bought it, it was a healthy, vibrant company with going somewhere, that was that apprenticeship program has just really been let go of. And two reasons. I think one is the young people, yes, they should value that experience more, but also the people, the experienced people should recognize that they're not a threat. That they're not losing their job because they're training a 25-year-old how to do it, right? And that's a really big concern for a lot of them, is that, oh, I'm training Jimmy to take my place. Well, right. No, you're helping the company grow, and we're going to take care of you. And if you give them that sense of confidence that their job's not going to go anywhere because they trained their replacement, you're helping the company grow. We need to grow. We need more of you, not less. So we're not going to let you go till you're ready to go. So
the other thing, if you don't, can I jump in real quick?
Sure.
Just as a side, I think it's Caldwell County, and I should know names, and I am horrible for forgetting, but the economic developer in Caldwell County, where a lot of our furniture manufacturing takes place, kind of in and around that area, recognizes the issue with manufacturers getting people into jobs, and understanding that manufacturing is not what it was in the 90s. It really is not. Like, I grew up in Martinsville, Virginia, Henry County, where you've got DuPont, Toltecs, Bassett Walker, you've got Bassett Furniture, Hooker Furniture, all, I mean, it is just, that's what everybody did. And it totally exploded in the late 90s. I mean, everybody lost their jobs. It was awful. It was horrible. It was horrible. And my dad worked at DuPont for years, shift work. He was dirty, made all this yarn. I mean, it was a team of, I don't know, 20 guys that had to run this machine 24 hours on different shifts. And, you know, manufacturing is not what it was then. It's not. Right. The pay is fantastic. It's very clean. You have to have some knowledge of technology. I mean, computers, you have to understand it. And what they have done in Caldwell County, and I'm sure other counties are doing this, I just am not aware. I just know about this because I've kind of been involved. What she has done is really phenomenal. She has worked with educators, guidance counselors, principals within that area to bring them in. Like I don't even know. It's a couple day process. I don't know if it's every couple of months, if it's every summer or whatever, but you know, you have to apply, you get into this program. She's working with local manufacturers, big companies that need employees. And they are like, please, we need you to help us help your students. Like, we need you to understand that this is what we're seeing as manufacturers. And when we hire students or young people to come in to do these jobs, they don't understand how to have a conversation. They don't understand how to take a ruler and like make it a number. Like, they just don't understand this. And we need you to understand that it's not dirty, that, you know, they get great pay. They can come in, it's clean, it's not loud, they're not going to lose their hearing. And even when we're out there in, you know, in furniture companies, you've got generations of people that have worked at this furniture company forever. I mean, it's like my grandpa worked here, and so now I'm here, and I've been here 20 years. I mean, it's awesome, but it's just totally different. And I think she's done a really fantastic job kind of bridging that gap, because educators are like, okay, we understand that we need to help our students be better about this, and we need to help them understand that a manufacturing job is a really great job. And, you know, if you don't want to go to college and you want to become a degree or a certificate in this particular area, you can make fantastic money and have a great career. Sure. And, you know, be really successful. And it's really awesome to kind of see that.
It is. That is. I know about that program. It's really impressive. I'm hoping that more counties start to adopt that same program with whatever industry exists in their county. And I think it would help attract even more manufacturers. It would be great. So let's get into some of these more personal questions.
I'm ready.
All right. What profession other than the one you're in would you like to attempt?
Oh, so this is really great. I would do lots. So I think I would really want to be like a private investigator, because I'm obsessed with true crime and I could really do well.
That's awesome.
But I also love the art. So back 150 years ago, when I was like deciding what I wanted to do, I'm like, I really wanted to go into arts policy. I really did. I mean, I have a degree in music and business, and I'm like, I'm going to manage the opera, and it's going to be awesome. And then I want to lobby so that the arts, because the arts are so important. And I am feel very strongly about this. And then, you know, I went to grad school and got a fellowship, and it pulled me into economic development, and I have never looked back because I also love it. So, but it would either be some like, let's lead an arts organization, or let's find serial killers.
That's a good one. I like that. There's definitely an art to investigating for sure.
Yeah.
And so that's good. There's definitely a combination there. That's awesome. And what historical figure do you most identify with?
Oh, it's a hard question. So I really appreciate, I don't know that I identify with anyone in particular. I appreciate and value like jazz musicians that um I mean just totally established what jazz is, and they went through a whole bunch of stuff. They couldn't tour in the South, they couldn't stay places, but they could go to Europe, and they were like celebrities. And it just the fact that they were so passionate about their art that they went through that was really kind of fascinating. And someone that I really just find fascinating is Ernest Shackleton,
Hmm.
the Antarctic explorer, and just his leadership and being able to recognize the strengths of his crew, and be able to tolerate people that hate him, and use their strength to kind of empower them and make them um, a really crucial and critical point for their success, is someone that I've always really kind of admired. And I think about him a lot, just not because people
Yeah.
hate me, but just I don't
No,
know that I could ever do. I don't think I people who can do that are really fascinating to me, that really can kind of pinpoint what you're really good at and how to utilize you in the best way.
yeah, our country is lacking real good leaders these days, and I think I don't think it's that they're not there. I think they're there. I think they're being drowned out by the voices of the masses that
Yeah.
are getting microphones now because of social media. And I have
Hmm.
nothing against social media. I love it. And I love the fact that I can find out about a musician in Seattle that's not getting played on pop radio
Hmm.
stations, and I can get that music. And so I'm not I have nothing against technology and social media, but it's more just what it's done in terms of giving a voice is both bittersweet because you do hear the little guy's voice. Um, they do have a microphone, a platform on which they can express, but it also dilutes the people who are true leaders in our industry,
Right.
in our world, and are
Hmm.
trying to look out for everybody as opposed to just their own self-interest. And I think that's it's yeah, we need people like Ernest. We I think that in terms of that I the oh, I meant to ask you the jazz musician. Oh, I was going to tell you.
Hmm.
I went to Jazz Fest in New Orleans, the very first one after Katrina,
Hmm.
and I got to see Kev Mo, and it just it just stopped me. Like it was, and then I went into this gospel tent,
Hmm.
and I sat there by myself and just listened to gospel for like an hour and a half, and it was one of the it was just a really moving experience to see, you know, the artist that nobody and Kev Mo, obviously a lot of people
Oh
know
yeah.
about. He's a world changer. Um, but the but these gospel artists, and then I was leaving Jazz Fest, and there was this band of high school kids with a trash bucket in front of them, like a big 55
Hmm.
gallon, you know, trash bucket, and it was full of cash. I mean, cash was just falling out of this thing,
Nice.
and I was like, "There's something here." So I stopped and listened, and it's called the To Be Continued Brass Band, and I don't know that they still exist now, but they the story goes that they were started by a high school kid whose grandmother said, "Hey, look, you have two choices. You know, you can find something that's going to take you on to bigger and better things, or you can succumb to the drugs and the gangs and the lifestyle that's there." And and he and his friends started this brass band. They loved music, and it launched them into a career with they've had partnerships, and they toured with Roots, and they just an amazing story. They've had a whole documentary about them now, and but I saw them in front of this house right outside of Jazz Fest, and playing, and it just made me realize how much music, you know, creates. And these guys are not traditional leaders, right?
Hmm.
They just found a love and a passion for something, and it push them into the limelight and show to
Yeah.
other people like them who come from the same
Mhm.
streets they do a path out, and I love that. I love that. That's leadership too, without even having to say a word. So
Oh, yeah.
what
It's
is
definitely a universal language. I think it can
absolutely
really just bring people together, even if you don't agree, like,
sure,
at all in other areas. Yeah, sorry.
completely agree. Completely agree with you. So what is your greatest extravagance?
Uh, I think that I just really like good quality things. So I will
Like my coffee
pay.
cup.
Yes,
Like your quiz cup, your quiz cup.
exactly. No, like, I like nice things, but I don't know that I don't have like one thing. I mean, I love coffee, but my friends would argue that my dog, who is a Walker Coonhound, is my greatest extravagance. He goes to daycare. I know, judge me all you want. It's
No
fine.
judgment. No judgment. You're good. They get
But
exercise and companionship. It's good.
yes, he like we do. It is really funny. They're like, he is 100% your dog. Like you have the same personality. So
I guess we would get along then. He sounds like a good guy. Which talent would you most like to have?
oh, 100, like, so I'm a trained musician, but I cannot play jazz. It is embarrassing. I'm so bad. Like I'm
What
more
musician? What do you play?
so I was classically trained on trumpet,
Oh, that's
which
great.
is a fun
That's
fact.
awesome.
So, and I really want to be cool and like play jazz. I'm so bad, so bad. But I really also want to sing with like so much soul, and it's just really pathetic. I'm really bad. Although I will win a karaoke contest and have many
I have
times,
no doubt. I have
but
no.
it is not because of my voice. I promise.
I'm sure it's better than you say it is, but I know most karaoke trophies go to the person willing to put themselves out there, and you are very
Yeah.
willing to do that. So that's good. That's awesome. I played the saxophone, and I was in a jazz band, and I played it. I didn't write it, and that's a totally
Yeah.
different thing. Like the ability to let jazz flow through you.
Oh yeah.
But it's really a gift that very few people actually have. And
Mhm.
I was a big Louis Armstrong fan growing up, and still am. I was just listening to Ella and Louis this weekend and
Mhm.
doing a little dancing with my wife. So it's great. So I guess we know what fuels you creatively is that
Oh
music,
yeah,
but is
music
there
for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
music. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
great. That's great. So one of my favorite questions is the last one. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Um, Probably welcome, but I expect to hear, can you please get in here and control your family? Because they're out of control.
We're glad you're here. Please put these people in order. That's good.
Please get your grandma under control.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. That's a really good answer. That's a really good answer. That's a
Yeah.
good one. Well, man, Liz, this has been a true pleasure of mine to spend this time with you and a cup of coffee. And I'm so grateful for you taking the time to spend with us this morning. And I know a lot of I can't tell you how great you've been for Quiz Machinery, but also for our customers, just having you there for us to send them to a true value. One of our core values of our company is that we're bringing value at every interaction. And that's hard to do when people see you as a broker of machinery, because that's not what
Right.
we really, it's part of what we do, but it's not why we do it. And what we really want to do is help everybody grow. And you mentioned earlier expectations. To me, happiness is achieved or exceeded expectations. Unhappiness is unmet expectations.
Mhm.
And when I can walk into a customer's shop and exceed their expectations by giving them a contact with somebody like you, um, it really does. It makes me happy. And I know I'm not the one providing the service, but just being able to point them in the direction of where that light is
Mhm.
exciting for me. And I just wanted to make sure you know how much we appreciate that and appreciate your time and your devotion to your craft and your art. So thank you.
Well, thank you. It's awesome. I really appreciate that. Was very kind, and I am always happy to help anyone anytime I can. And I appreciate you guys as well. I appreciate the opportunity to have this conversation too. It was really a lot of fun.